Doghouse Podcast is back. Got a great return special guest, our friend of the show, Mad Dawg. How we doing today?
I'm doing fine. It's good to be back. I think this is like my third time being on here, isn't it?
That's right, man. You're becoming to be an OG guest.
Well, it's always fun being on there to talk Georgia football, so I enjoy it very much.
Yes, sir. Thanks again for coming on. Again, make sure to like, subscribe, share the Doghouse Podcast. That really helps out. Been getting some good views recently, even though it is the off season. Yeah, Mad Dawg wanted to jump right into it because it just had some updates here recently. Some of the Georgia game times were just announced. Want to get your thoughts on that? Looks like we got a bunch of 3:30 games, but out of the ones I can list them here, present them. Out of the ones that we have talked about recently, what's maybe the most interesting one, and any thoughts on them?
Well, I mean, it's interesting that we the two cupcake teams that we play right off the bat, Marshall and Austin P, are 3:30 kicks. But the big ones is going to Knoxville and getting that 3:30 kick. Yeah. I think 3:30 is absolutely one of the best times to watch a college football game. I mean, it's not too early, and by the time the game's over with, it's not late. It's a great time to go watch the game live. But to me, it's even better when you. Because, not a lot of people, it depends on where they're playing. Not a lot of people, care about those night games like that. I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Being there live, watching the fireworks go off, I'm sure it's great. But, the way the sun sets at, during that time of year, at 3:30 kick, you'll have, it'll be like a night game by the time it's over with anyway. So I think 3:30 is a perfect time. I love the fact that we got all those 3:30 kicks. I don't know how it happened, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I definitely looking into it. Being Gunner Stockton on the road, first SEC start, I think that's good because you got 7:30. Things get a little weird in Knoxville, so I like that, getting on the road there. Also, I think they're probably holding out on Texas, Alabama, and Ole Miss to see how all the teams are doing record-wise. Those could be some primetime games in Athens. Yeah, looking at that, what do you think about those three big-time matchups? You think those are going to be night games, maybe 3:30 games? I know they haven't been scheduled.
Probably. I mean, you got to think about Kirby's the kind of person that doesn't necessarily like losing, and he doesn't really forget. So the fact that, he beat Texas twice, but Texas coming into Athens is going to be a big deal, especially when you don't want to beat Kirby's record as far as, his winning streak at home. So I think Texas obviously is going to be big just because, Arch Manning's coming in there and everybody's going to want to see that. But the two teams he lost to last year, which is Ole Miss and Alabama during the regular season, he hasn't forgotten about that. And they're coming in there. They're having to break in new quarterbacks just like we are. I think it's going to be a really big deal for Kirby to establish it. He's got to get this Alabama monkey off his back. It's really getting tiring. I don't know if it's in his head. I don't know what's going on, but he's really got to figure out a way to beat Alabama and that winning streak at home and how big of a deal that game is. I think that game could be one of the most important games because he's got to eventually get that Alabama monkey off his back. It's just so tiring. And the only time he beat Saban, the only time he beat Alabama was during that national championship game. He's got to stay consistent with that. He has got to stay on top of it. I don't know who Kalen DeBoer is going to have, under center. I know who he's going to have as his offensive coordinator because he's getting his old offensive coordinator back, but. Just because, he's Penix isn't under center. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know who's going to be under there. And no matter how great your offensive coordinator is, if you don't have the talent that knows the playbook and can back it up, you can call all the plays you want. If you don't have the right kind of personnel in there to execute them, then it's not going to be worth anything.
I think it's looking like Austin Mack, maybe. He looked okay coming out of the spring. I have no idea.
No, I have no idea. And it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's not Milroe. It's not anybody. It's all new. The only bad thing about it is you're not going to have any film on this guy. You're not going to have any film on a lot. That's the bad thing about getting a new quarterback. You don't know if he's going to surprise you or absolutely fall on his face. So it just depends on how they play, how they execute. I mean, Bobo has got to not have a slow start against Alabama this year. That cannot happen. I
That's right.
mean, I have it under good authority that Bobo actually went in Kirby's office and said, I don't have any weapons on this offense. I need weapons. So, I mean, you saw what happened. Kirby hits the portal. He's recruiting wide receiver more. He's getting some playmakers in there because that's what he needs to do. So Kirby is answering the call of his offensive coordinator by saying, I need more weapons on this offense.
Yeah. And I think Kirby did that, man. Went out in the portal, spent some good money, Noah Thomas and some other pieces. We'll see, man. One other question for you, because I asked it actually to the Missouri guy last night. This is a good one. Currently, as of right now, because there's a lot of quarterbacks that left in the draft have moved on. Coming in the 2025 season, who's the number one, maybe statistically, who you think is number one quarterback in the SEC coming in 2025? I kind of hit him with that one. He had a good answer, but kind of made me think though.
No, I mean,
guys.
Yeah, well, no, South Carolina Sellers is incredible.
Good
Sellers is going to be a problem. And what's surprising is that everybody kind of thought whatever when Shane Beamer went to South Carolina, they thought it was going to be a pushover. But I mean, Shane Beamer's putting up a lot of wins right now. I mean, he did he's almost like Spurrier at South Carolina, with those wins. I mean, and it may be that Beamer might be a pretty good head coach. Nobody really wants to talk about that, but that could be true. So I think Sellers, I mean, they got to do what they can to hang on to him. That kid's going to be amazing. I mean, he proved it in the bowl game. They were a heartbeat away from beating Alabama last year. I really think that Sellers could be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC this coming up season.
I forgot about him. That's a good call there, Mad Dawg. Good one.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He is. You know who my Missouri buddy there, Skeeter, as his name. Good name there. Yeah. He picked Garrett Nussmeier. Statistically, he is returning with good stats. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, Nussmeier is very good, but
Sellers.
Sellers. I mean, he can have a bad offensive line, but when you got an athletic quarterback that can do the things he does, I mean, he that bowl game, he just completely willed that win for them. Like he just absolutely, they couldn't stop him. He'd get outside the pocket and run. They couldn't stop him. And it was an incredible thing to see when you see that kind of athleticism. So yes, I think Nussmeier's a great pick, but for my call, it's going to be Sellers.
Yeah, I like that one. I'll actually go with that one. I agree with that one. I didn't think about it. I'm not going to go with Arch because Aaron Murray had a good point. He was getting beat out all year by a 7th round Quinn Ewers. And if he's supposed to be first overall quarterback, Heisman Trophy candidate, Arch Manning, he would have been in there playing over the kids. So I thought that was a good observation. Couldn't even beat out a 7th round pick.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's only, that last name carries you a long way, but then you're going to have to wind up being your own person. So everybody wants to just love on Arch Manning. And don't get me wrong, if he'd have came to Georgia, I'm sure we would have done the same thing. Everybody thought he was going to come to Georgia, and they wanted him pretty bad. But, I mean, it can't be that easy to, on Sark's offensive style play. So he's going to have to learn everything about that. And he wanted to go there. That's where he wanted to be. He wanted to be his own man. Now he's in the SEC. Let's see how he does. He didn't do that well against Georgia when he came in when Ewers went out last year. But
I agree.
You think about history repeating itself. That one year at Alabama went to Texas and beat them like 20-19. And then Texas came back the next year and beat Alabama at home. And I know Texas fans are going to be talking about that. That's what they're going to want to happen. And Kirby's just going to have to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I know, quote like what you just said, to be the man, you got to beat the man, Ric Flair there. So Arch Manning wanted to be the man. So we'll see. Yeah,
absolutely.
Before we get into some recruiting talk, I want to give a shout out to our great sponsor of the show, Viva Tequila Seltzer.com. 0 carbs, 0 sugar. Great for 18 rounds of golf. We got pool season. Definitely check them out. Also, if you can get the coconut flavor, which is always sold out, try to check that out. But again, for Doghouse 20% off. Doghouse 20% off for Viva Tequila Seltzer.com. Check them out on Instagram, and they got a growing YouTube channel. Appreciate them for being a sponsor of the show.
Watermelon's a good flavor.
Yeah, it is. Appreciate that. I like it. It's tasty. Even though I haven't been, and a side note, I haven't been drinking that much this year. Been living the clean life. That's me.
I mean, you sent some to me, and I enjoyed the watermelon, so it was good.
It is good. Yeah, appreciate that. Mad Dawg got a little recruiting news last night. I was completely off the rails. My mom, of all people, texted me, who's not a big texter, and go, "Hey, do we get a 4-star wide receiver?" And I'm like, "Man, am I out of the loop?" I didn't read Dawg. I was busy with work. But we got Ryan Mosley, 4-star from Carrollton, Georgia. Great program. I believe Dejon Edwards. We got him there, right?
Yeah. He Carrollton is actually one county over from where I live, now, and he's the type of player they're going to play him as wide receiver, but they also said they might put him in the safety position, on certain plays. So we haven't seen anybody play on both sides of the ball since Champ Bailey for Georgia. So right. I would very much like to see if this kid lives up to the hype of being able to play both sides of the ball and the kind of hands that he has and being a wide receiver. I mean, God knows we don't need any more drop passes, so we're going to need somebody that can catch those 50-50 balls and catch them. But the thing is, here's a crazy thing. Very rarely do you just play as a freshman and new recruit right out of the gate for Kirby, unless you're somebody special. And there's not that many Brock Bowers floating around out there. So, the thing is, this kid's going to come in. Everybody's going to think about the hype, him playing both sides of the ball, and it's going to be great. And we might not even see him this year, and people will forget about him, and then he'll show out the spring game. And then, next thing you know, people, oh, yeah, I remember that kid. People always forget about him because sometimes it takes a year before you even see him. Yeah. So, I'm excited about this kid. I don't know if we're going to see him this year. It's a possibility. If some of those first 2 games, if Kirby gets a big lead, maybe he'll put some of those freshmen in, see how they do. But on SEC play, those big games, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama, I don't know. He may have to. He may have to make sure that those transfers in there start and do very well. That's the whole thing. We've got to make sure, because this is the most transfers that he's gotten. Since he's been a head coach, you've got to make sure they're all on the same page and they're clicking, or else we cannot drag on offense anymore. I cannot stress this enough. It drove me insane that we wouldn't start playing offense in the third quarter last year.
Oh yeah,
we have to start off. I mean, I know you may have a couple of blown up plays in the first quarter, but come on, by the end of the first quarter, you should be clicking.
Yeah, completely agree on that. I think Kirby needs to go old school and watch some of those. I remember a while back they were having slow starts. They were watching Mike Tyson fights. Mike Tyson would just maul people, knock them out in the first round.
Yeah,
put those repeat on again. Let's get it going. Yeah, back to the Ryan Mosley kid. I watched a little bit of him. You know who he kind of reminded me of? Big long receiver, kind of possession, like a Matt Landers or Javon Wims. That type, kind of get in the middle, post pattern, slant pattern. Kind of remind me of that.
I loved Wims. I love Jake Fromm and Wims. Once they got that connection going, I mean, he would always throw it to him. It was once you get a good connection with a receiver and a quarterback, and you're able to do things like throw it over their back shoulder, throw them open, put the ball where they are going to be, not where they are, so they a chance to get it intercepted. Once you start gelling with a receiver like that, it's a beautiful thing to see, and that's what Stockton has to do. Now, I've heard that Stockton has completely won over the locker room. He's completely got the locker room, and that's fine. But he needs to step up and make sure that he's a big vocal leader on the field as well, which I think he will be. But the kid doesn't worry about fancy cars or anything. He drives an old 80, what it was, an 87 Ford. He drives an old truck, and he might even have a flip phone like Stetson Bennett did. He blocks out all the noise. He doesn't listen to any of it. So that's the key to the whole thing. He's got to make sure he stays focused.
Real quick on that, and I like Gunner. He's earned his spot, but do they have a short leash if he struggles and Puglisi's right behind him? I know you're a Puglisi. What do you think? Even though Gunner played better in the spring, but you think he's got a short leash?
Well, Gunner knows the offense a little bit more. Puglisi, Puglisi does have that drive. They're just two different kind of style quarterbacks. And, does he have a short leash? Probably. I mean, I'm sure there's a backup plan. I mean, Kirby doesn't even tie his shoes without a backup plan, so he's got to have something. He's got to have something in mind in case everything goes south. But I mean, you got Jared Curtis coming in now, and everybody wants to talk about what a big deal that was, and it was a big deal. But it's hard to get excited about quarterbacks or anybody high recruit now because of the way the portal is. I mean, even if everybody says, well, when he signs, everything's okay. Well, even when they sign, they in spring they could just take a hike, and the fact that Jared Curtis already decommitted once before makes me a little nervous about it. So, I mean, do I want him to succeed? Do I want him to stay there? Absolutely. I wish him the best. I want him to succeed at Georgia. I want him to be great, but until he actually proves that he really wants to stay there, it's a little hard for me to get excited about it.
Oh yeah, completely agree. And then real quick, Georgia is. This is on 247 Sports. I always like to follow them. Georgia's number 11 got, I believe, 10 commits. We got Jared Curtis, but whiffed a little, which I don't blame him at all if they couldn't give him north of $2 million. Jackson Cantwell back a couple of weeks ago. But thoughts on the Georgia class for 2026 so far? And I think they got some other – need to get what they really need real quick? Running back. The last 2 cycles, you have a 3-star running back is all you have. I don't know what the Crawford coach is doing, Coach Crawford, but, man, it's time to get some RBs, man. We're supposed to be RBU. Been quiet.
Yeah, that's true, and that's a big problem with last year. I mean, with the offensive line, you've got to be able to open up those holes and let those running backs through. And I think that could be a deterrent on why we're not getting a lot of running back recruits. Until you can really establish the run and show everybody that you can run the ball, it's hard to sell that to a running back recruit who's thinking, if I go to Georgia, I'm just going to get the crap beat out of me every time I get the ball, versus I'm going to have some holes opened up and then I'm going to be able to make plays. But I mean, Kirby loves to run the ball. Kirby loves to run the ball, even if it's coming. That's how he, and you can't stop it. That's what we need. We missed that on that offensive line. We've got to have better offensive line play this year, because running the ball is going to be key, especially in Bobo's system, because then you open up play action. There's a whole number of things you can open up if you can really establish the run. So we're going to have a very good run game coming up this year, and I think we will. But it's gonna have to be proven to everybody before anybody just believes it anymore, because it just seems like since Swift, everything's just been kind of a little stale in the running back room in Georgia.
Completely agree. Got to do better than north of 100 in rushing. Got to.
Yeah.
And yeah. I think Kirby, I know he's close to Bobo, but I think they could probably have some call to Jesus meetings.
I'm sure.
This is business, man.
No, it is. But I mean, Bobo also did. He did a good job calling the plays the year before, and with the exception of losing that SEC championship game, he bailed us out of a lot of things. Of course, he had weapons like Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers, those kind of things. I mean, Brock Bowers is an absolute freak of nature. You're never going to find another player like that. It's just one of those things. If you finding another Brock Bowers is like finding Bigfoot on a unicorn swimming next to the Loch Ness Monster. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Those freaks of nature are generational talents. Yeah. But what you've got to do is get everybody else to collectively to come in together as a team, have that offensive line, blocking the way they should. That's going to be key, especially when you get in the red zone, man. Especially when you get down there. That's got to happen. They got to have it. You got to have those plays.
Right. Completely agree. We'll see, man. A lot of questions coming up. So got a little off-season talk for you, because everybody likes to do the list in the off-season. But who's your top 5? Bring it up here. This according to ESPN, if you had to pick, Mad Dawg, top 5 current coaches in college football. I think we all kind of agree who the man is at number 1, but who else you got in your top 5 if you had to pick?
Well, I'm in the I like Notre Dame's coach.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, Ryan Day won a natty, but to me, I don't know. There's something still not quite there about Ryan Day. I don't know what it is about him. I mean, you would have to put him there because he's won a natty, but I
Mhm.
mean, I'm gonna, Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning's in there. I'll have to put him in there. I think he's taught by Kirby. I think he'll do good.
Yep.
Believe it or not, Dabo, for all his craziness, he's been hanging in there. I think Dabo's a very good head coach.
Got two
Now,
natties too, man. Him
he
and Kirby.
does, but I'm usually in the minority of this because he's only done it once. But I think he did fantastic at Syracuse. I like Fran Brown. I don't know if he's like the best
Rising
in college
star.
football right now, but he is a definite rising star. It's hard to go from a position coach to a head coach. And he got Kirby's blessing with that. And I admit I watched Syracuse last year just because he was there because I want to see how he did. And he actually answered the call, man. He was very good. Everybody always says, let's if something happens to Kirby, or if Kirby, a few years down the road decides he wants to hang it up, first call is to Dan Lanning. Everybody always says that, but I'm telling you, if Fran Brown continues to do well and he moves up, I wouldn't mind bringing him back. He is an excellent motivator and a very, very good coach.
Definitely good recruiter too, man. He learned that from Kirby.
Oh yeah, he's a fantastic recruiter. That's one of the things I hated because he left. He was like the number one recruiter in 2023 or something. He was fantastic.
He was. Another name on here that's interesting, just because he's gotten close, but they got him actually number 5 in the top 5. Steve Sarkisian. What do you think about him?
Oh yeah, Sark's fine. Yeah. Sark, he gets in his Texas feelings though. He's definitely drinking the Texas Kool-Aid because Texas always, everything's big in Texas. They're fantastic. They were going to come in and take over the SEC last year. I'm very glad that we were able to beat them twice and not let them do that. But Sark's fine. Sark's got a brilliant offensive mind.
Yeah.
And, so does Lane Kiffin and a lot of other players. But Sark's very, very intelligent when it comes to offense. I think he's good too. He's just got to get over that hump and win the playoff games and actually win a natty if he really wants to be like elite. He hasn't quite gotten there yet.
Right. Yeah, completely agree on that. Another interesting name here, number 8. Even though he finally made it in the playoffs and made it, James Franklin. He's always kind of stuck as that third team in the Big Ten, 10-2, 9-10 win season. Thoughts on James Franklin?
I have some Penn State friends that are Penn State fans. My God, they do not like James Franklin. They can't stand him. I don't know why. I mean, I think they're going to be really good this year. I mean, he went out and got that defensive coordinator from Ohio State. I mean, they made the playoffs. They did well, but I don't know. Franklin's too. I don't know. He's very emotional. He's like a roller coaster. He gets too in his own feelings. I mean, he was fantastic when he was at Vandy, and everybody liked him. But I don't know. I mean, they don't like Franklin. They don't like anything about him, which surprises me because they're huge Penn State fans. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Franklin's on the cusp too. He's right there. And until he gets over that hump and actually holds up that national championship trophy, it's you know what he's missing, right? He never had it. Quarterback. Drew Aller's not going to get it. The guy right before him, he's always had mediocre, just another guy. Defense has always been there. Had some running backs and some pieces. Never had a good quarterback. I was telling, I got a guy on my team, sales team. I made a joke at him. He's like, "Oh, I'm all excited about the playoffs." So I was like, "You have Drew Aller coming back next year. Good luck." He's like, "Yeah, I know." It's like, come on, man. Yeah, you're right. You got to have that
elite. He's like white with rice, oatmeal. Am I right?
You have to have that elite quarterback. He's not. You have to. Now, Georgia did it with a walk-on back to back. But, is it because it was just a walk-on, or is it because that, Stetson Bennett was actually pretty elite and nobody knew about it? That's one of those crazy situations where Todd Monken, come back, please. We had him too. Had the magician. Yes, that's true. That's true. But Todd still had all those weapons. He did. Todd had Bennett, and he had Bowers and Ladd McConkey, and he had a lot of good running backs and stuff like that. So no, I mean, yeah, he can come back. It's like I said, you can come back. That old saying, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmy and Joes. Exactly. Kirby said it one time. There is no coach out there that could out-coach anybody that has better players, because you can't coach things like run faster. You can't tell your running back to run faster. He's running as fast as he can. You can't say, hey, maybe you should run faster. Oh, that never occurred to me, coach. Thanks a lot. No, either he's elite running back or he's not. There's certain things in running back you can't teach. Like that one play. I actually talked to Jake Fromm one time. I saw him at an event, and Jake Fromm said during that SEC championship game, that play he handed off to Swift was supposed to go to the right.
Right.
And it went to the left. And he said as soon as he handed the ball off, he saw Swift cut to the left, and he thought, what is he doing? We've been doing this 100 times in practice. What is he doing? And then he saw what Swift saw, which is what you can't teach. He saw the hole right when it happened. Boom. And then he was gone. And the rest is history. He got that big touchdown. Because you need those running backs. Once you see those holes, you can't stop them, especially when they break on the outside like that.
Yeah. I think I remember him on Brandon Adams. He's like, what are you doing? Where are you going? And he goes, touchdown. Go. He says, go Dogs. Go.
Yeah. I mean, because that was supposed to be it's one of those things where you call a first down run. Okay, this is supposed to get us the first down so we can we can regroup and see what we're going to do. Well, he like he said, he cut to the right. We cut to the left. Yeah. And it's like, what does he do? No, first down. I remember hearing an interview with Herschel Walker when he was a freshman. He first got handed off the ball and he ran through those two Tennessee players and he got a touchdown. Because when they put him in, he was just a freshman. And I remember Dooley said, just get me the first down, Herschel. Can you just get me the first down? Herschel ran over 2 men and got a touchdown, went back to the coach and said, I know you just wanted the first down, but I scored. Is that okay? He was like, that's fine, Herschel. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, the rest is history, because like I said, that's another generational talent. You're never going to find anybody who can do the things he did, because you can't coach that kind of talent. You just, once they're on there, you just like give the ball to Herschel. And just like everybody else was like, throw the ball to Brock Bowers. It was very easy. Just get it to Bowers. He'll get the end zone. And he always did. Because when you're that much of a freak of nature, just get it to him. It's like playing a video game and going, I just always throw it to this guy. This guy will get you in the end zone. And he does. Yeah. You just, it doesn't matter. You can't coach that kind of talent. Either they have it or they don't.
That's right. Was it the go select button or whatever? Old school, hit the select button.
Yeah. You hit that select button. The guy's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, man. Right. Really appreciate you coming on, Mad Dawg, as always. And how we follow you on social media. And you got your another doggone podcast. I love that intro that you have. How about them dogs?
Yeah, that's all. It's always good. I actually have to make another one. You can follow me on Twitter at MadDawg19. Same way with Spotify. You can find me another doggone podcast on Spotify. I'm actually going to try to get on YouTube like you getting on YouTube, so we'll see about that. But
man, check him out on all those. He's almost a couple more followers to be at 2,500. And have you been doing any more to your great graphics with the?
Oh yes. I've been doing that a lot lately. I got one coming up tomorrow. I always do things, just try to keep it lively, something. And whenever an idea hits me, I just sit down and start making stuff to see where it goes from there.
It's great, man. Very skillful. And he sent a bunch of thumbnails for me. He always helps me out. It's great.
Oh yeah. Anytime you need anything, man, just let me know.
Yeah, man. Hey, appreciate you coming in on Mad Dawg.
Absolutely, man. I enjoy being on here every time. Thanks, Trey.
Hey, appreciate it, buddy. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the Doghouse podcast, and let's give them Go Dogs. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.